I thought my husband was gone forever. Not divorced, not separated. Bed. That's what years of silence does to a woman. The army took him away for what was supposed to be 2 years. 2 years turned into 3, then 5. No calls, no letters, just one short message every few months saying, "Alive, on duty." I waited. I cried. I defended him when people whispered. But nights are long when you sleep alone. I was 24 when he left. By the time he disappeared completely, I was 27 and invisible. Then he walked in. I was on the couch with the man who had held me together when my husband didn't. The door opened, and there he stood, in uniform, older, colder. My heart stopped. For a second, I truly thought I was seeing a ghost. He didn't shout. He didn't move. He just stared at me like I was a battlefield he had already lost. I should have felt shame. Instead, I felt anger. Where was he when I was breaking? Where was he when I begged the walls for answers? He looked at the man beside me, then at me, and smiled. That smile told me one thing. This war wasn't over. It was just beginning. People think cheating happens in one night. It doesn't. It happens in silence, in loneliness, in unanswered prayers. When my husband left, he promised to come back the same man. But years change people. I waited faithfully for 3 years. After that, the world kept moving, and I stayed frozen. Bills didn't stop. Loneliness didn't stop. Society didn't stop judging. Everyone told me, "He's a hero. Be patient." But nobody asked if I was surviving. Then I met him. The man who listened. The man who didn't disappear. The man who treated me like I still existed. I didn't plan betrayal. I planned survival. By the time my husband returned, my heart had already buried him. That night, after the shock, my husband said nothing. He washed his hands, ate food, slept on the floor. Not one question. That scared me more than anger, because soldiers don't stay silent unless they're planning. I knew that. But what he didn't know was that I had already planned first. While he was fighting wars for the country, I had been fighting one at home. The house, in my name. The savings, moved long ago. The documents, updated. The respect, gone. He thought he came back to claim a wife, but he came back to face a woman who had learned how to win quietly. And if he wanted revenge, he would learn something painful. You can't punish someone who already stopped loving you. After that night, my husband acted like nothing had happened. No shouting, no questions, no accusations. He woke up early, exercised like a soldier, and left the house without telling me where he was going. When he returned, he spoke politely. Too politely. He called me by my name, not wife. That distance was intentional. I knew this man. I had once loved him deeply. This silence wasn't peace. It was preparation. So I decided to do the most dangerous thing a woman can do to a man like him. I acted weak. I cried in front of him. I apologized without defending myself. I told him I was lonely. I told him I thought he was never coming back. Not lies, not truth, just enough to soften the edges. I let my voice shake. I let my eyes fill with tears. And slowly, I saw it. His shoulders relaxed, his jaw unclenched. Men like him don't understand betrayal from emotion. They understand surrender. And I gave him the illusion of it. He started staying home more, started watching me closely. I cooked his favorite food, folded his clothes, asked him about the army. I played the role he wanted to see, the guilty wife, grateful for forgiveness. Inside, I was calculating every step. He didn't know that while he was gone, I had learned how to survive without him. I learned laws, I learned money, I learned how quickly love disappears when dignity is crushed. The house was already legally mine, the savings too. I had done it years ago, quietly, when I realized waiting was killing me. I never expected him to return, and if he hadn't, no one would have blamed me. One night, he finally spoke. "I forgave you," he said calmly, "but trust is gone." I nodded, lowered my eyes. "I'll earn it back," I said softly. That was the moment he believed he had power again. He started correcting me, controlling me, testing me. Where did I go? Who did I talk to? Why did I smile at my phone? I answered every question patiently. Because control makes people careless, and careless people make mistakes. He went through my phone one night while I slept. He found nothing, because I wanted him to find nothing. But I went through his. He was already talking to another woman, calling her understanding, calling her peaceful. Men like him always need someone to feel superior to. I smiled when I saw the messages. Not pain, relief. Because now, he wasn't the victim anymore. I invited his parents to dinner one evening. I praised him in front of them, told them how brave he was, how hard the army life must have been. They looked at me with surprise. "She waited for you," his mother said proudly. He didn't correct her. He let her believe the story he wanted everyone to believe. And that was perfect, because the higher the respect, the harder the fall. That night, he told me, "We'll start fresh." I smiled and nodded. That in my mind, I corrected him. "You will start over. I am finishing this." I wasn't planning revenge with anger. I was planning it with patience. He thought forgiveness meant weakness, but what he forgot was this. A woman who survives abandonment learns how to live without mercy. And I was just getting started. My husband believed one thing more than anything else in the world: his honor. The army had carved it into him: discipline, loyalty, reputation. He could survive hunger, bullets, and blood, but he could not survive shame. And once I understood that, the ending became clear. I started by becoming invisible again. Not distant, not cold. Perfect. I praised him in front of others, called him my brave husband, listened when he spoke. Men like him grow careless when admired. He began taking me to events, army gatherings, family dinners. He wanted the world to see he had come back whole, that his house was still in order, that his wife was still under control. And I let him display me like proof of victory. I watched how people treated him, the respect, the pride, the way neighbors stood straighter when he entered a room. No one questioned his absence. No one asked what it had cost me. And that was fine, because I wasn't fighting society. I was fighting his image. I spoke to his commanding officer's wife one afternoon, not with accusation, with concern. "I worry about him," I said gently. "War changes people." Her eyes softened. I told her how quiet he had become, how distant, how sometimes he woke up screaming. All true. Then I said something small. "He says it's nothing. He says soldiers handle things alone." I never accused. I never blamed. I planted worry. Slowly, conversations changed. Questions were asked. Nothing official, nothing written, but in the military, reputation moves faster than paperwork. At home, he was changing. He drank more, slept less, checked his phone obsessively. The woman he was talking to had stopped replying. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. She had discovered the truth on her own. Men who pretend to be broken heroes often forget they leave traces behind. One night, he accused me of manipulating people. I looked at him calmly. "I only speak well of you," I said. "Is that wrong?" He had no answer, because I never lied. Then came the papers. A notice from the Army, routine review, psychological evaluation. Standard process, they said. But his hands shook when he read it, because soldiers know when the ground beneath them starts to move. He didn't suspect me. He suspected weakness, and that was enough. I attended the evaluation with him, sat quietly, held his hand. When they asked questions, I answered gently, supportively. Yes, he struggles with sleep. Yes, he carries heavy memories. No, he doesn't like to talk about it. Concern, not complaint. Truth, not attack. After that, the house felt different. The man who had returned so confidently now walked carefully, spoke softly, watched his words. Power had shifted, and he felt it. One evening, he asked me, "Do you still love me?" I paused. "I respect you," I said. That hurt him more than hate ever could. He thought revenge would come with screaming, with exposure, with destruction. But real revenge is quieter. It waits. It smiles. And it uses the thing you protect most to slowly undo you. His honor was no longer armor. It was a pressure point, and I had my finger right on it. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. Plain envelope, no warnings, just his name printed neatly on the front. He opened it slowly, like a man who already knew the truth. Temporary suspension. Mandatory review. Pending final decision. No accusations, no explanations. Just uncertainty. And for a soldier, uncertainty is torture. He sat at the table for a long time, staring at the paper. I placed a cup of tea in front of him, my hands steady. "It'll be fine," I said softly. That kindness broke something inside him, because men expect anger. They prepare for war. They don't know how to defend themselves against calm. Days passed. Phone calls stopped. Messages went unanswered. The same neighbors who once saluted him now nodded politely and looked away. Respect doesn't vanish loudly. It fades. He started questioning everything. What did you say to them? Who have you been talking to? I looked at him honestly. I've only spoken the truth, I said, and only when asked. And that was the worst part, because truth, spoken gently, can be more dangerous than lies. At night, he walked the house like a stranger, touched walls, opened drawers, searching for control. But the house no longer belonged to him. Legally, emotionally. I had already moved his name off everything years ago, when survival demanded it. He didn't know yet. Then came the meeting. A formal gathering, his commanding officer, a civilian counselor, and a man with a folder too thick to be comforting. I sat beside him, supportive, silent. They spoke about readiness, stability, mental fitness, words that sound harmless until they sit across from you. When they asked if he had support at home, I placed my hand over his. Yes, I said, he has me. He squeezed my hand too tightly. He knew. This wasn't about strength anymore. It was about image. and his was cracking. After the meeting, he exploded. Not with rage, with desperation. "I gave everything to this country," he said. "I came back to nothing." I looked at him then, really looked. This man had left believing he would return unchanged, believing time would wait for him. Time never does. That night, I handed him the documents. Property ownership, bank statements, legal records. All in my name, all dated years back. His face drained of color. "You planned this," he whispered. "No," I replied. "I adapted." He slept on the couch after that, not because I asked him to, because the bed no longer felt like his place. The next week, his suspension became permanent, discharge pending, not dishonorable, but not honorable either, the worst kind, the kind that ends stories quietly. People stopped calling, the uniform went back into the closet, and the man who once believed he survived war finally understood the truth. The battlefield wasn't outside. It was here, in this house, in this silence. And I had already won. People think revenge means ruining someone's life. It doesn't. Real revenge is letting go after you've taken back everything that was once stolen from you. By the time my husband was officially discharged, the house felt empty even when he was still inside it. He moved quietly, spoke less, avoided my eyes. The man who once walked in wearing a uniform, full of pride, now lived like a guest waiting to be asked to leave. And I never rushed him, because endings come faster when you don't chase them. The divorce papers were simple. No drama, no public scene, no shouting. He read them slowly, as if hoping the words would change. "You're leaving?" he asked. I nodded. "I already left a long time ago." That was the truth. He tried once. Only once. "I forgave you," he said. "I came back." I looked at him calmly. "You came back to see if I was still waiting," I replied. I wasn't. Forgiveness doesn't rebuild love. Presence doesn't erase absence. The court didn't ask about war or sacrifice or medals. It asked about facts, and the facts were clear. I kept the house, the savings, my peace. He kept his memories. The day he packed his things, he stood at the door for a long time. Not angry, lost. "I don't know who I am without the army," he said quietly. I didn't answer, because it was never my job to save him. After he left, the house felt lighter. Not happy, free. Freedom doesn't always feel joyful at first. Sometimes it feels like silence after years of noise. Months passed. I rebuilt my life without explaining myself to anyone. I stopped defending my choices, stopped apologizing for surviving. People talked. They always do. But I had learned something important. Society forgives absence in men. It punishes endurance in women. And I no longer needed its approval. I heard about him later, working small jobs, living quietly, avoiding old faces. The hero without a stage. I didn't feel victory. I felt closure. Revenge wasn't what I did to him. Revenge was what I didn't let him do to me. He didn't get my tears, my guilt, my future. I gave him exactly what he gave me. Nothing. I don't hate him. Hate keeps you tied to the past. I chose something stronger. I chose to walk away. And that was the final win.